This is Musical Talk, the UK's independent and longest running musical theatre podcast.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Musical Talk. My name is Nick Hutson. I'm sitting across a friend of mine who you've never heard on this podcast, but she is we know each other from our theme park fandom world. This is my friend Serena Cherry. Hello, welcome to Musical Talk.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're very welcome. I wanted to get you on because not only have you got a fascinating document in front of you about your musicals that you've recently seen, but before we started recording, we talked about, have you always liked musicals? And because it's never something that I've associated with you. You are in a popular rock combo group, and you also do solo metal music, don't you? Mm-hmm. And now you've got this other, and you love the theme parks, and you're very well travelled in that. But now you have this other side to you, which is musicals. And we saw Matilda together, didn't we?
Yeah.
Tell us about your background and what you like about musicals and how you found them and where you are with them currently in your life.
I think people are always very surprised when they hear how passionate I am about musicals. I am a metal musician. I, scream and play guitar in a metal band. So it's quite an unlikely combination to turn around and say, oh, I love big theatrical musicals with really melodic or sometimes cheesy songs in them. And I think, people are really...
Is it though? Because I think you said you're in a screamo, I believe is the technical term, band. It's all very theatrical, isn't it? I mean, all those kind of prog rock stuff in the 70s, the lines certainly blurred, didn't they?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason Dream Theatre are called Dream Theatre. It's very theatrical indeed. Not that, my band are anywhere near the musical prowess of Dream Theatre. But yeah, you're right. There is a theatrical element to it. My solo project especially, it's, I wear a big set of horns on stage, and it's all very kind of about getting into character and musically as much. Yeah, exactly. And musically as well. When I'm writing, I am looking for that same feeling that musicals give me, that same evocative, from just one leitmotif, you can feel every single emotion in the world. And I'm looking for that when I'm creating, even though it might be buried under layers of distortion and buried under screams, it is essentially the same feeling of music.
And what was the first show that you fell in love with?
Oh, so I saw Phantom of the Opera when I was 17 years old and absolutely fell in love with it, even though I've seen it again recently, and it didn't, having seen so many more musicals now, it didn't quite carry the same weight for me as it once did. But the first time I saw it, I was absolutely blown away. I loved the gothic, visuals of it. I think that musical is jam-packed with great songs.
Yeah. Did you get the heavy metal influence in it as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the actual song, the main song, Phantom of the Opera, that's very close to a Pink Floyd riff.
One could say absolutely stolen by Pink Floyd. And
I was being generous, very close.
There have been lawsuits around that, but that's another story entirely. But yeah, when he wrote that, it was originally going to be a singer who died recently, a rock singer from the 70s, was going to play the Phantom. Uh-huh. And he didn't, and then Michael Crawford surprised everyone and stepped in and did it originally. I still think that Phantom has the best opening of any musical ever.
Wow, that's high praise.
Just that whole idea of the theatre coming alive or going back into time, and the chandelier rising, spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it, and the chandelier rising off the floor and the theatre restoring itself. Did you ever hear of the Las Vegas production?
I did not, but I'm very intrigued.
Built specifically for like a 80-minute version, I think. The chandelier was like in 25 pieces or something, and it's in the round. They had grand theatre opera boxes with fake mannequins in them sitting all around. So it was a really grand spectacle. Are you aware what's happening in New York with Phantom of the Opera at the moment?
No.
With Masquerade, the immersive Phantom of the Opera
No.
production. I don't know very much about it, but it's this kind of Punch Drunk meets the Phantom of the Opera thing, which
Wow, okay.
if I were in New York, I would definitely go and check that out. Of course, you're aware of what our theme park, the kind of Europa Park in Germany. There's a very odd. Tell us about this.
Europa Park, one of my favourite theme parks. They have a VR, virtual reality layover of a roller coaster, an indoor roller coaster called Can Coaster, that's based on Phantom of the Opera.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
And the best thing about it is actually you can see some of the old costumes and props and things as you're waiting to experience a ride. That was the highlight for me. As soon as that VR headset was on, I actually lost immersion. It went backwards for me. And I mean, what's interesting is I think you step into the vehicle, the ride vehicle, whilst wearing the headset. So imagine doing something as complicated as, you know, stepping into a roller coaster car whilst being visually impaired by a virtual reality headset. It's interesting how they've managed to make that work.
But you can hear Serena on my roller coaster podcast, my theme park podcast at some point in the future. We'll go more into detail about that. But let's go back to musical theatre. You have done the nerdiest thing in the world. And what have you brought with you, Serena?
I have brought with me a sort of spreadsheet ranking. It's not quite as detailed as I would have liked it to have been of all. So I've seen 23 different musicals, some many, many times. And I've sort of ranked them on staging, songs, vibes. Vibes is very vague. Vibes means, did it make me cry?
Okay.
Or did it make me feel warm inside?
Did it do what it was meant to do?
Yeah, exactly. Did it just make me really feel my feelings? And then I did start a column that was favourite song from each of these musicals. But as the list went on, I was struggling to think of favourite songs from the more forgettable musicals. But yes, I've got my top 23 all ranked and ready.
So how do you want to talk me through this? If you were to kind of sum it up in less than an hour, take us through the 23 musicals. Just list them, and we'll see if ones that we can talk about.
Okay, well, if I go sort of backwards, like Top of the Pops, and then we'll build some suspense to number one, because I think you're all going to be shocked by number one.
Will I be shocked by number one?
I think you'll be disappointed.
Okay.
Okay, in at number 22.
I'm not angry, I'm just very disappointed.
Yeah, I can just picture your face dropping now. Okay, at number 22, we've got Aspects of Love. Mm-hmm. At number 21, we've got Grease, which once again I would file under Fun Night Out rather than performance art. Number 20 is Mean Girls. Number 19 is Moulin Rouge, and I have quite a lot to rant about with Moulin Rouge because I'm a huge Baz Luhrmann fan. I love the movie, and the stage production to me does quite a disservice to the movie, unfortunately. Number 18 is one that wasn't around for very long, Diary of Adrian Mole, the musical. Big fan of Sue
Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, age 13 and 3/4.
Yeah, thank you. The correct full title. Big fan of Sue Townsend. And then at 17, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
The picture show or the show?
Rocky Horror Show. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong there. Number 16, and please don't be annoyed, it's Matilda. The more I thought about it afterwards, I went...
The more I hated it.
I just thought, I can only really remember one standout song, and I thought there were aspects of it that were really good, but it scored pretty low on the vibes and the songs. The staging scored very high, but then moving on to number 15, it's Back to the Future. At number 14, it's Bat Out of Hell. At number 13, it's Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the musical. At number 12, it's The Great Gatsby. At number 11, it's Hades Town. Oh, turning the sheet over now. At number 10, it's Six, which interestingly scored 7s across the board in all rankings. Number 9, it's Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York. Number 8, it's Wicked. Number 7 is And Juliet. Normally I'm not wild on a jukebox musical, but I think And Juliet...
And Juliet's clever.
Oh, yeah, it's clever. It has so much heart. Number 6 is Heathers. Number 5 is Phantom of the Opera, which is potentially maybe a little too high. Part of me thinks, should it really be above Heathers and Juliet? But that's just the nostalgia talking, I think. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. Number 4 is one I saw really recently. I saw this last week, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Number 3 is Book of Mormon. Number 2 is Frozen. So you can see I'm a big Robert Lopez fan.
Yes, as you should be.
And number 1 is...
You're a bigger Andrew Lloyd Webber fan now, aren't you?
Apparently so.
Yeah.
It's the 2024 production of Starlight Express.
Okay. Let's go back to Moulin Rouge, because I enjoy Moulin Rouge for its bombastic nature, and I'm not a big fan of the film, but I've seen the stage show a couple of times, because when I see the film, I always thought this belongs on stage, because the film is so... It's like it's trying to escape the screen. It's so kind of big and brash, and now it is on stage. Obviously, it belongs in a kind of club and all that kind of stuff. But the reason the stage musical is, in my opinion, odd, is because she's dying of typhoid or typhoid or whatever, whooping cough, whatever it was she had. She's coughing her guts up, but she's still going to sing Firework by Katy Perry. And this is a one time where original songs would be better.
Yes.
Keep the pop stuff for the club and have original songs for the more private moments.
Yeah.
Dare I say? That's my theory on Moulin Rouge. But I always enjoy it when I see it, because it's the most ridiculous show there is, I think.
See, I would describe it as like an empty opulence. I feel like, Moulin Rouge is a tragedy at its core, but...
It's La Bohème.
Yeah. But here we have like a real fixation on the kind of glitz and glamour side of it. Like I remember the sort of ending, sorry, can I give spoilers?
Yeah.
Where she dies, and then within 30 seconds, you've got a string of dancers doing the can-can again, and it just completely misses the mark in terms of the tragedy and the nuance of the movie. Like, I love that juxtaposition that Baz Luhrmann does in the movie, where he walks that tightrope of opulence and like the kind of the rich colour palette in the movie, but then it's also got this darkness to it. All of the characters are quite dark in their ways and their wants and their desires.
But how would you feel as an audience member if you weren't aware of the film and the shift in tone it has, or the shift in tone the stage show has? If you paid, I don't know, £250 to see Moulin Rouge, and she died, and the curtain went down and the house lights came up, would you feel that you've had a good night out? And I use a term in parentheses.
Well, this is the difficulty, I think, and this is something I feel strongly about with musicals based on films, is that I feel they're more about providing this kind of, good night out, a spectacle, than they are about telling a story and letting you feel things. So, I suppose, had I not seen the movie, and going to see a musical can be an expensive activity, and then you walk away on a note that's depressing. And
because the same thing, I've never seen the film, and I don't know if you have. We'll skip forward in your list. Your list is a good kind of musical generator just to talk about random shows, but and they're not random because you've seen them and you've thought about them a lot. But Heathers is about a terrorist attack, and this spoilers, this person has just blown up a high school, and yet they're all going to be friends and sing about it at the end. I wish it just ended there, as opposed to them rambling on about being 16 or whatever it is they do at the end of Heathers. Is that's the same kind of thing you're talking about, isn't it? Not everything needs a happy ending.
No, yeah, that's true. And part of me, I agree with you, actually. I think Heathers, because Heathers is razor sharp anyway. If it had that real gut punch of an ending, that would make it even better.
And I think that's a difference between British musical theatre and American musical theatre. Americans love a happy ending. They love their American dream, which is what the golden age of the Broadway musical was all about. Whereas we, life is shit, go over it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I think there's comfort in a sad ending. Comfort in something so unflinching. I would admire.
Or open-ended.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be big song and dance number.
But with the audience expectations nowadays, it does.
Yeah. And that's particularly prevalent in the musicals that are based on popular films.
Yeah.
I find.
Like Phantom just ends.
Yeah.
There's no medley at the end, thank God. But yeah, tell us about the most recent show you saw, because this isn't one that and I like your list because it has got things that I haven't seen on it. So tell us about Harold Fry.
Yeah, so The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. This really caught me off guard. I have never heard an entire theatre collectively sob quite the way they did at this musical.
In a good way.
It's so poignant, in a great way, and it really just hits you straight in the heart. The comic type, like it's got a lot of humour in it as well for something that's about grief and forgiveness. But the comic timing in it is really spot on.
What's it about?
It's based on a book. It's about a father who's, sort of in his midlife, who is, barely leaves the house, barely goes anywhere. And
I can relate very heavily to that.
Yeah. He's very inside, and he's kind of given up on life. And you find out.
Sorry, is it British or American?
British. And you find out there's a lot more deeper reasons to this as the show goes on, which there's some things that they're too powerful to spoil. So I'm not going to tell you everything that happens. But one day he receives a letter to tell him that one of his old colleagues and an old close friend is dying in a hospice. So he decides, first he goes, I'm just going to write this letter and post it to her. And then he decides to walk all the way across the UK to the hospice to give her the letter in person. And this is someone who never left their house for decades. This is someone who had just given up on life.
It sounds like a Mr. Men story.
It's really, really poignant.
Mr. Agoraphobic.
Yeah. Mr. Walking Shoes.
Yeah.
The music is made by Passenger, who is, I love his first album, All the Little Lights. He's beautiful, indie, folky, twinkly but sad, kind of. Think Ed Sheeran, but really depressed.
Must I?
Hey,
you're not selling it.
Hey, Ed Sheeran's one of the great songwriters.
He is, yes,
of our generation. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Redheads unite.
But Passenger, yeah. And
did he do the lyrics as well, or were they?
Yes, he did,
okay.
and they fit.
Because I always have an issue with pop songwriters doing musicals because, and this is why it's interesting that you're so passionate about this piece, is that generally they can't do it. And the rhyming is all over the place, and the stresses don't work with the beats of the music, and everything is kind of a bit, the craft isn't as honed as it should be. And I wax lyrical about this, no pun intended, on this show. But if you say it all kind of worked.
I was genuinely so impressed.
Lovely.
By the songs that he'd written for this musical.
And what kind of era were the songs portraying? Is it set in the modern day, or is it set in some time and space that is non-describable? What's the kind of, if you were to sum up the kind of music, and you said folky.
Yeah, it's so it's it's very modern day style music. It's of this time, I'd say.
Which is always risky when you're writing a musical because it immediately becomes dated.
Yes.
If you're going to sit down and write a musical, which I highly predict you probably will one day, because I will make sure of it. I'm going to set this in the modern day, about now. I said, well, it's going to take 10 years to get it staged, so you're immediately writing a period piece, which is fascinating. If you've got to think, I need to set this at least 5 years ago, so I have a reference of history to play upon, whether it's in the book, the musical, or the lyrics. So it's interesting that it's set, again, parentheses, now. And I've seen it mentioned, and I will go and see it. It's at the Theatre Royal Haymarket, so thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Oh, I'm really intrigued to hear what you think of it.
Another show you mentioned, which I didn't catch, and it went to Broadway, was Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York. What is that about? Oh,
I mean, this is one of the most unique musicals that I've seen, because it's just two people on stage for the whole thing. Just this couple. Oh, well, no, they're not a couple.
And a cake.
And a cake. The cake is a major player in this musical. It's a sort of slow burn romance, really. These two people sort of stumble into each other's lives. But then it's also a bit of a grey area in that a lot of the romance isn't explicit. It's more implied. So there's a lot of room for interpretation with Two Strangers. The songs are very kind of delicate and sensitive. They're not the most memorable songs, but it's really interesting to watch how they managed to make a show entertaining with just two people on stage the whole time. And the staging was quite clever. And it was minimalist, but it was clever in how it worked.
Do you think that a musical is bad because the songs aren't memorable?
That's a big factor for me, yes. I do like a memorable hook.
And do you think, this is why Lloyd Webber stuff is memorable, if your same melody is repeated ad nauseum throughout the evening, it therefore becomes memorable? And people, you're more musical than someone else, your neighbour, for example, who might go and see a show, so you might have the ability to remember a melody more than someone else would. Does that mean does that make the musical better for you than it does for someone else? It's just always interesting. I don't like this musical because I couldn't hum any of the tunes. Well, a lot of music is thrown at you in a musical.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting, what's your opinion on that as a musician and as a fan of...
Well, it's really interesting because now that you've said that and you've made that observation...
You're rewriting your list.
Well, no. It just I probably would, but it makes me ask, is that more to do with me than the musical? Is that a reflection of me if I'm grading something on how memorable it is, and it's a reflection of my memory and my ability to absorb music? Or I also find what mood you're in that day can affect how you absorb music and what you remember. And why would I place so much emphasis on repeat value of being able to walk away and sing a song? And it's interesting you say that as well, because I didn't fall in love with Starlight Express the first time I saw it. I went, wow, that's really weird. And then I saw it a second time and I really did fall in love with it.
Had you listened to the album before going again?
Yes.
So you heard that incessant dance, the race track that plays 700.
Dun, 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 dun.
But do you see what I mean? That is memorable because Lloyd Webber, whatever you think of him, he does write a very good little hooks of music, which are repeated over and over again, sometimes for no dramatic value whatsoever. We've all seen the Family Guy parody of Starlight Express, which makes great reference to that.
Do you know what? I've never seen Family Guy.
So Peter Griffin says, I wasn't less upset or whatever since I was last in Starlight Express. And there's a shot of him dressed as Rusty or something on stage with roller skates. And he just goes, Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express, Starlight Express. And that sums the show up, because that's generally what the ending of Act 1 is. I'm being a bit cruel, but it is, if something is sung to you or played to you often enough, it does become catchy.
Yeah.
If you have a load of melodies throughout the evening, I always think if they work at the time, that's where it matters.
That's a very excellent point. because it's sort of grading things on the walkaway value of what's sticking rather than what's working right now and what is instrumental.
I mean, there was a gag about kind of the big 80s musicals, Les Mis, Phantom, Cats, Starlight. You leave humming the sets because they were always the big kind of, they were more important than the musical content, which is quite
You've just reminded me of something which I think is really, really telling.
Yeah.
I have seen Les Mis. I saw it last year.
Not
and
on
I
your list.
forgot to put it on the list.
You forgot, or subconsciously you haven't put it on your
I've
list?
deleted it from my memory. I love the song On My Own.
Yeah.
One of the
On
great.
my phone.
Yeah, on my phone. I just love a big sad ballad.
And interesting, every time the phrase "on my own" appears in Les Mis, it's the same melody, and it's little things like that you talk about, leitmotifs and kind of planting these nuggets of music into. It's why I love writing musicals, because it's such a puzzle, and it's like, well, I got this little melody here, but it needs to work somewhere else in counterpoint with this piece of music, so I need to write it to work with that, but then it has to mean something else, and it's all kind of Stephen Sondheim, arguably the greatest writer of musicals of the 20th century. Into the Woods, Sweeney Todd, A Little Night Music, Sunday in the Park with George, which is coming to the Barbican next year with Ariana Grande.
Wow.
Okay. The most complex musical stuff ever written. Not hummable, but sometimes it is, ironically, on purpose. But he was a massive fan of puzzles. He wrote crossword puzzles for the New York Times. He wrote scripts for murder mysteries. Probably why I like murder mysteries and stuff, because everything is kind of about how do you put this all together, and that's why it is the hardest thing in the world to write a successful musical. But as we've seen, what makes a successful musical is very different for two people sitting each other across a room.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's so many different nuances that people can value.
I want to talk about Matilda, because that's a show that you and I saw.
Yes.
Did I overhype it, or did you went in not knowing any of the songs?
I went in, fully blind with this one. The set was gorgeous. I thought that was, a real standout part of it, and even just the staging as well was really impressive in places.
So simple as well. And it's Matthew Warchus who directed it, and his set designer Rob Howell who did the set and the costumes, and they work on everything together. So you can tell they have a really good, and he works with the same lighting designer, works with the same illusion designer, works with the same musical supervisor. So you can tell that they have a real strong collaboration as a team. And it was really Matilda that every theatrical aspect of it was near perfect, I think, with the lighting, the set, the costumes, and the direction. It's if you don't know the material, a lot is thrown at you.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really key point there with Matilda. There is just so much melody going, and it sort of doesn't really pause for breath. And also, I can't remember the correct term for this when there's a lot of words. There's a correct
a patter song.
That's the word. Yeah, a patter song. Yeah, I thought Matilda was quite busy with those. A lot
That's
of
what
words.
Tim Minchin's famous for. Is he does these very fast kind of rap poems in a way, and listen to the cast album Matilda, because I think like Starlight, it's one of those. It's a grower, not a shower.
I see.
It once you can really hear what the lyrics are doing, they are very, very, very clever.
But then that's the thing, isn't it? It's like going in blind to a musical. It's a bit like listening to an album once and writing a full review of it.
Yeah.
So a lot of these musicals I have only seen the once. And I remember, Book of Mormon's here at number 3. First time I saw Book of Mormon, I thought, oh, that's overhyped. And then I noticed I had, I believe...
Then the Orlando curtain appeared and you were very happy.
The distant picture of Hulk.
Yeah. B&M on stage.
Oh my God, best thing ever. I had I Believe stuck in my head afterwards, which again just shows how much value I'm placing on memorableness of a song.
But it's also repeated a lot through the evening.
Yeah.
And I think it's also played as you leave the theatre, which also has a lot to do with what you leave humming. Like I always leave Wicked with One Short Day in my head because that's what's played as exit music when you leave the theatre. Tell us about Book of Mormon, a show that you're number 3.
Number 3 on my list. It scored a 10 for staging, 10 for songs, 8 for vibes. I'm just a big fan of Robert Lopez. I mean,
but South Park as well.
South Park, I would say I'm South Park ambivalent.
Yeah.
I love the movie Bigger, Longer, Uncut. Again, the musical.
Yeah.
The songs in it are great. It's razor sharp. I prefer new South Park now that it's not episodic and they have threads carrying throughout. But I don't sit down and go, I must watch the new episode of South Park. I don't really hunger for it, but I can appreciate it. But Book of Mormon, I mean, I think it's interesting to me that it's sold on its vulgarity, but what makes it great is how clever it is.
Is its heart.
Yeah, it's how much heart it has and how sensitive it can be in places and how clever it is, and clever in ways that most people wouldn't even notice. Like you were saying about the song, the one that's a full reference to the song in The King and I.
Oh yes, the song they perform as the puppet.
The American
theatre.
Prophet song, yeah.
Well, no, the American Prophet is that's actually a reference to Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Doodah, whereas the what is the one where they sing about dysentery in the all the most vulgar lines came straight into my head. That one.
Yeah, that one.
And obviously you've got The Lion King in there, and you've got Little Shop of Horrors with Salter Lake City, which is a reference to somewhere that's green, and you've got I'm just going to go through the songs in my head. You've got bits of Annie in the one you mentioned, the da 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 da, da I Believe.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of clever threads going in, but you can tell from South Park that Trey and Matt absolutely adore musicals.
Yeah.
I think Trey more than Matt probably, but are you aware of their film student project they did called American Cannibal the Musical?
No.
There's some suggested watching for you.
Okay, brilliant.
But yeah, they're huge musical, and that's what I do like about Mormon is its heart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I wait the inevitable film because I think it'd be interesting to see them take it beyond the stage and see kind of what you can do with locations and things.
Do you know what I find really interesting as well? I think I may have mentioned this to you before, but how it's within my circles. I know a lot of people in metal bands who would scoff at the thought of going to see a musical, but Book of Mormon is the exception.
Spooky Mormon Hell Dream.
Yeah, they go just for that.
Yeah.
Just to see, Satan shredding on the guitar. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people within that metal circle, not interested in a musical at all, but they will make the exception to go and see Book of Mormon. And it's sort of become a little bit as the musical for people who don't like musicals. But what's ironic about that is I would argue it is one of the most musical musicals. Yeah. It's got tap in it. The footwork, the last time I saw it, I was up in the sort of balcony bit. Normally I'm on the lower floor, and I was just watching the footwork and the dancing alone going, this is spectacular. Yeah. This is so intricate. And yeah, and yet it's kind of peddled to, I would say, a less theatre going crowd.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they all lap it up and love it.
What's a general consensus when you talk to your, dare I say, metal friends? They sound like robots. About your musical theatre appreciation.
Oh, it just goes completely over their heads. They don't see the value in it, or they kind of.
But when you say listen to Jesus Christ Superstar or listen to Hair or so many rock musicals out there that go, dare I say, way beyond anything that kind of rock bands do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jesus Christ Superstar, that's on my to watch list for this year because it's on at the
Palladium.
Yes, the Palladium in the summer. So hopefully you're going to go and see that with Sam Ryder on vocals.
I might join you for that because I'd never seen it on stage either, and I think to see it with a rock person would be jolly fun.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. That sounds great. but they that's basically
Julian
prog
Clary's
rock.
playing Herod as well.
Yeah, they've got a variety of people on
Okay.
Herod, but it's an interesting mix of people for that. But it's basically a prog rock album. Jesus Christ Superstar. It's just prog rock. And yet it's very strange to me how I think that the issue is in metal circles, there is a bit of a snobbery and a bit of a real kind of over exacerbation on being cool all the time and only listening to heavy music and only dressing in black and, you know, dismissing anything that doesn't fall within that remit, even when things like musicals have so much in common with metal music and the drama of metal music. There is sort of a bit of a...
I don't know if you know Sweeney Todd. Listen to it. It is screaming to be altered into a heavy metal production.
Okay.
With full-on rock arrangement. And there are people on YouTube that have taken the Sweeney Todd songs and done them as heavy metal, prog metal, whatever the thousands of different subgenres there are, which I would probably annoyed a lot of people right now, including you. But taking that whole score and rocking it up and putting, because the film with Johnny Depp, he was playing it as David Bowie anyway. So if they were to really goth it up, rock it up, I think that would be a really interesting way of doing Sweeney Todd.
Do you know what? I have seen the movie.
Yeah.
Once, I saw it at the cinema when it came out, and I think wrong thing, wrong time.
Yeah.
I think I just didn't have the appreciation, but I'd love to go and see it now. I mean, it's New York, isn't it? If you want to see Sweeney Todd, the
most recent production was on Broadway, but there's always productions of it.
Yeah.
Or just watch the film again.
Yeah.
But it belongs on stage because they cut a lot of the narrative stuff from the film. It's one of my favourite, because horror musicals are really hard to do, because the minute you start singing it becomes funny and it's not scary.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd manages to tread that fine line between Victorian melodrama and like proper horror music on stage. It is not nice to listen to at some points, but sometimes it's gorgeous to listen to.
Oh wow, I need to see this.
Yeah, and then Google the hard rock versions and go, this is amazing. I'll play you some after this. But what other shows? What was number 2 on your list?
Number 2 is Frozen.
Beautiful show, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I just love everything about, again, everything. I think the heart is really what shines in Frozen, but also I love both the Frozen movies. I would argue Frozen 2 is better than Frozen
songs,
1. Yes,
I think.
Definitely. And the colour palette in Frozen 2.
The story was what? Horses that made of water or whatever it was.
It's all just an allegory for finding yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. So much so there's a song about it.
Yeah. Oh, what a song. I mean, I would love a Frozen 2 stage musical.
Well, I thought they would do that. Well, like, they closed Frozen. It's like, actually, we're not doing Hercules. We're going to put Frozen 2 on. The same cast are coming back, but she's buggered off to do Greatest Showman, which is fine.
Oh.
Which it's at the Hippodrome.
What's the deal with Greatest Showman? Because I didn't enjoy the movie, but recently I started singing in a choir, and we sang some of the songs from The Greatest Showman, and whoa, when they are sung in a choir, they are really good songs.
They're good pop songs.
So is it a musical production?
It's Disney.
Right.
Because Disney own Fox now, who did The Greatest Showman, and so they got Pasek and Paul, who did the songs, to write a whole load of new ones. It's at the Bristol Hippodrome this summer, from May, I think. It sold out in about 5 minutes. It's coming to the Theatre Royal Drury Lane when Hercules closes. So that's the deal with Greatest Showman.
Oh, that's very unusual for Bristol Hippodrome to get something first.
Well, no, it got Mary Poppins many, many, many years ago. So I think Disney do use it as a kind of trial...
like a testing ground.
Trial space.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Because I grew up in Bristol and my band still rehearsed there, and I saw some Greatest Showman posters and thought,
there you go.
Oh, that must be just something, maybe some local thing. I didn't realise.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
the Cribs Causeway Amdram Society. So that's your list. So, I mean, what's next for you? What shows are you looking? Obviously, you mentioned Jesus Christ Superstore. What's next for your? What else is on your list?
I'm just laughing at Jesus Christ Superstore. I really want to see Avenue Q.
Yep.
Again, that's
Complete the Bobby Lopez.
I do
trilogy.
exactly. Yeah. I need to get the full set.
Yeah.
Get all the creds. And what was the other? I mean, I would really like to see Sweeney Todd. Now that you've said about it, there was another one on my list that I was like, oh, absolutely have to see that next. But it'll
come to you.
It'll come to me at a really inopportune.
You'll tell us in your next episode, which I hope you'll be on. But thank you so much for sharing your musical journey with us. Where can people find more information about you, Serena?
I'm Serena Cherry. I play in a band called Svalbard. I have a solo project called Noctule. I'm Serena Cherry Cat on Instagram, which is, I guess, my most used mode of social media. And that's... or I'm What a Cool Fridge on Twitter, because Twitter won't let me change my handle. And that pun was funny 12 years ago.
Reminds me of Back to the Future, because I don't know how much you know about Back to the Future, but not the musical, but the original idea was not a time-travelling DeLorean. It was a time-travelling fridge.
Oh.
And I'll leave you with that thought, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. Serena, thank you very much. We'll have you on again soon. We'll get you on when we see some shows. Until then, take care of yourself. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
This episode of Musical Talk was presented by Nick Hutson and Serena Cherry. For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. Visit us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, all under Musical Talk. This episode is copyright 2026. Thanks for listening, and do join us next time.